Allison. I'm the Programs Outreach and Youth Services Manager here at Monterey County Free Libraries. Thank you for joining me this evening for another episode of Book Chat. Tonight I am going to chat with you about a short story collection. We actually have this book in our YA or teen collection, but I wanted to talk about it separate from the Teen Book Chat series because I am an adult who likes to read YA novels, and the author of this has actually written half of her books for adults and half are classified as teen books. And that is Rainbow Rowell. So some of you might have heard of her. I did a previous book chat video on her novel Attachments, which is my favorite of her books. She also wrote Eleanor and Park, Fangirl, and the Simon Snow trilogy. So she has written quite a number of books for YA audiences. Like I said, this is in our YA collection. However, there are a couple of stories in here that I feel are probably more geared towards adults, so it's definitely crossing the age classifications of YA versus adult, and there's no reason why an adult can't enjoy YA, as I already said. So like I said, this is a short story collection. It's called Scattered Showers. Just from an aesthetic standpoint, I loved the cover. Thought that was a really nice cover, and it's got blue pages, and interestingly the font is all purple. So there were some really interesting stylistic choices in putting this book together. The book is comprised of 9 stories, and I'm not gonna lie, part of me felt a little cheated by some of the stories. The first two stories, Midnights and Kindred Spirits, came out in short story collections that I had already read. So I was looking forward to all new content in this book, and then I, right off the bat, got two stories I was already familiar with. And then, interestingly, Rainbow Rowell made the choice to have 3 of the 9 stories be continuations of stories from her previous novels. So there's a story that features one of the main characters from Fangirl, there's a story that features the characters from the Simon Snow trilogy, and there is a story that features the characters from my favorite, Attachments. And while part of me was kind of happy to revisit some of these characters, I also felt a little bit, I was asking myself, like, is Rainbow Rowell running out of material? That she felt like she had to revisit established situations. I was asking myself, did these characters really have more to say? Or was she just searching for something to fill up this collection of short stories? I wasn't sure. Personally, I didn't read any of the Simon Snow trilogy books, which were a spin-off of the Fangirl series, the Fangirl book. I skipped those chapters in Fangirl, and so I didn't read those books, so I didn't read that story. As I mentioned, Attachments was my favorite of her novels, so I was interested to see how she continued those characters' stories, and they're in the story Mixed Messages. And in Attachments, the story is told with the 2 main female characters sending emails to each other. So it starts off with them sending text messages to each other, which was a cute way to update it. And this is one of the reasons why I am doing this book too as a not separate from the Teen Book Chat series, is because this story is all about these 2 women who are in their late 30s, early 40s, and their fertility issues. So it was something that I was like, well, teens aren't gonna really relate to that. And that's why it made it a little hard for me to figure out where best to classify this book, because the other stories, the fresher ones that we haven't seen before, either in other collections or being continuations of her other characters, are teens. They're in high school or very early college. They're very clear-cut young adults. But then in the continuation of the Fangirl story, where we have a story with Reagan during COVID, she's in her mid-30s. So it was an interesting mix of different ages, different experiences. It was just a little bit all over the place for me. It was hard to find a common thread kind of going through the stories. I am talking about this book because as a Rainbow Rowell fan, I was very excited to see that she had something new coming out. It's been a while since she's had a novel come out. She worked on a graphic novel. And so I was really hungry for new content, and I don't know if this satisfied my hunger, but if any of you out there are Rainbow Rowell fans, I wanted to make you aware of that this book is out there so that you can read it and judge it for yourself. My favorite story that I read, I had two favorites. One was Kindred Spirits, which is about a girl who is waiting in line for the premiere of the new Star Wars movie. And I had read that story before, but it's a really cute story of the bonds that she builds with the other two guys who are in line with her. And then I also really enjoyed Winter Songs for Summer, which is about a girl in college who is going through a breakup and listening to music to deal with that breakup, and the guy who lives under her dorm is tired of hearing all her breakup music and starts making mixtapes for her so that if he, as he says, if he's going to listen to her music, he can at least listen to something that he likes. So I really loved those stories. The last story, In Waiting, is a very interesting kind of meta story about characters waiting to be written into existence. So that was interesting. But yeah, I'm still not 100% sure what my thoughts about this book are, but I do want to make it known to folks who might be Rainbow Rowell fans that it's out there in our collection. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and if you have any books you'd like to recommend, please let us know in the comments below. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.